Hi, you don't know me, but my name's Pixel, and I've been playing Runescape on and off for a little over 20 years. It's always been the game that I've come back to for more than 2/3 of my life. But in 2022, I got hit by a car, leaving me with life-changing injuries, and one of many results of this is that I can no longer use a mouse and keyboard without significant pain and discomfort and the risk of injuring myself further. I've been able to continue using my computer with my beat-up old controller through the Steam client, and though I've tried coming back to the game several times, I've been afraid of playing on my main because I don't know how this ties in with the game rules, and I'd rather not lose the 4,000 hours I've put into that account. I've attempted controller on an alt before, but this didn't last more than a couple hours as I was put off by the lack of speed and control the joystick offers, on top of the mental health things that I've been going through the last couple of years. But I really fucking miss playing this game. Ever since I was a kid, I loved the lore. Just the fact that these gods were actual beings that had entered and affected the world. I mean, I know this is pretty common in fantasy these days, but it was my first real introduction to it. So basically, because Jimmy, if you haven't already, go check him out, he's far more talented than I am, said,
"For over 3 years now, I have been told to do buy release on RuneScape 3, which I will never do."
Here's a series inspired by that, RuneScape Story Mode. The basic idea behind this series was, what if RuneScape was a single player console RPG? So with that in mind, here's the rules. First off, I have to do everything on controller. I've always struggled to play on mobile anyway, but I figured it'd be more appropriate for the rule to keep to the challenge. Secondly, I have to complete every quest, mini-quest and event in timeline order as given by the game and the RuneScape wiki, with a couple of exceptions. I will only have access to content I found organically through questing or at a point it can be related to the timeline, so I won't be walking into player-owned farms or visiting May for weaponry anytime soon. Seasonal quests can only be completed during the season, just felt appropriate. Combat can only be trained if I need to get stronger for a quest boss, and I will only be allowed to train combat through Slayer and bossing for gear. The remaining 19 skills can only be trained for supplies or requirements. With rule 3, my options for grinding are going to be limited anyway, and I'd like the focus of this to be on questing and combat. I can't do Jack of Trades, any other dailies, weeklies or monthlies can only be done once. And I won't be able to take part in any multiplayer activities. Gonna be an Iron Man anyway, which I've never done before, so that should be interesting. But I also won't be allowed any help with any bosses that I choose to do throughout the series. We'll see how that goes. Any multiplayer only bosses will be available to me only after I've completed my goal, which will be to complete all 315 quests and mini-quests, and then to complete the remaining 270 requirements for the Master Quest Cape. Exceptions will be made to the rules only if it prevents me from progressing, and the second rule I have for this account is I would at some point like to beat every single boss in the game at least once on controller. I started off by setting my initial controller binds for the game with 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the D-pad for future abilities and quicker navigation of the chat boxes, space on X, I'm using a DualShock, and mouse control on the right stick with right and left click on the triggers. Made the account an Iron Man, bold and beardy, because, reasons. Roller only popped into existence, then just as quickly they leave their home in Ashdale, teleporting to the prestigious Tutorial Island to begin training as an adventurer. They are welcomed by Reginald, and sent to their first lesson with Brinna the survival expert. She teaches them the basics of survival, building a fire and preparing food. Oops. Try again. There we go. Before sending them to the master cook, who teaches them to make bread. From the quest guide, Roller receives the thing that had them most excited about the Tutorial Island experience, a magical quest log that would inform them of any people who require help. Next they forge a bronze dagger for the mining instructor, which the great warrior Vanica then tells them to, in the most traditional video game way, kill a giant rat with. Feeling rather let down by this, Roller continues on, to meet a financial advisor who tells them that banks exist. Then at the island's church, the local priest informs them that the gods will answer the prayers of those in need, a fact that many people in Gillinor grow up knowing. Starting to seriously doubt the supposed acclaim the island has garnered, Roller continues to the final instructor, who hands them a spellbook, teaches them how to connect to the lodestone network, then sends them off to Burthorpe to begin their career as an adventurer. Upon arriving in Burthorpe, Roller speaks to a nearby Slayer master named Turail, who informs them of a serious threat the town faces from trolls. He asks you for help killing them, but only when Roller is fully prepared for the encounter. So they cook some crayfish near the pond they were fished in, and enter the nearby Burthorpe mines to gather copper and tin. They smelt it into bronze and forged themselves some armour, barely noticing the legendary smith and future boss Linza stood right behind them. Geared and ready, they return to Turiel, who sends them to a northern cavern to find and kill... hang on. There we go. 5 troll chuckers. With the task complete, Turail informs us of a massive troll who's been disturbed by our encroachment, and we return to deal with the mighty beast. Morningstar. Once he's been taken care of, we return to ask Turail what they can teach us of ranged combat. He tells us to make a bow from flax and wood, which we then use to slaughter some cows. And with a little help from Tanya Hyde, craft it into leather armour. We're sent back into the cave to kill more trolls, but growing bored of this, we decide to go make some magic gear from cloth woven from wool. Proud of our new gear, we return to Turail for a final time, where he provides us with some spiked gloves, specially designed for ripping the cores from gelatinous abominations, which have become an issue in the caves beneath Taverly to the south. Upon entering the caves, we're greeted by the sorceress Ariane.
This is no place for a stroll, friend. The creatures here are very unusual. I don't think they have a natural origin. I'm Ariane, by the way. An adventurer and sorceress. We need to find the source of these creatures. Lead on, intrepid adventurer.
And with her help, make short work of the monsters.
We need to explore the cave. I'll follow your lead.
Eventually
A
discovering
troll shaman.
another troll, Magic Stick,
Magic stick! It's strongest!
who after we cast the spell Confuse on, falls quickly. Then finally, after saying farewell to Ariane,
Indeed. There are many more mysteries in Gillinor deserving my attention, so I'll take my leave. I'm sure we'll meet again. Farewell.
Roller decides it's time to train the skills they've learnt so far. Okay, first of all, if you've made it this far in the video, you're mad. Thank you so much. I didn't think it'd grab anyone's attention for this long. I suppose if it hasn't, then I'm just talking to no one. This is the only part of the video that's on script because I wanted it to be a bit more genuine. This video has meant a lot of work. It's taken me close to 100 hours, and it's only 10 minutes long, for fuck's sake. This is my first video editing project, but I've still got so much to learn. This is something I wanted to do for over 10 years, and after the accident, it just seemed like, the appropriate thing to try. But yeah, I'm only going to say this once, because I promised myself I wasn't, but this is my first video, so if you could like and subscribe, that would be really fucking helpful. But yeah, next video should be out next week, hopefully around the same time as this one, unless I end up taking way too long on it again. But here's the stats for the end of the first episode. Take care, see you all soon.